Hello, love bugs. Welcome to our first episode of a series that we're calling Sinners and Soap, where we will lather and pour and talk about people who desperately are in need of a therapist instead of a weapon. Today's story is a wild ride because we are heading to Green Bay, Wisconsin, home of the Packers cheese curds and apparently one of the most bonker true crimes cases I've seen in a while. I mean, because today we are talking about Taylor Schabusiness, and yes, that is her last name. How what started up as an crystal fueled hookup turned into one of the most disturbing murder cases in the state's history. And listen, like this one, it's got everything. It's got drugs, obsession, necrophilia, dismemberment, courtroom chaos, and a woman who somehow thought I got lazy was an acceptable explanation to give cops. So, yeah, grab your coffee, your soap molds, and your sense of humor, and maybe a bucket of bleach for your brain because we are going to deep dive into today's episode. And before we get started, please like this video down below. It takes 2 seconds. I will forever be grateful, helping us build back up so we can be on a lot more. Quick disclaimer though. My loves, this case includes graphic violence, substance abuse, and the kind of behavior that will make you question humanity. So if you're sensitive, this is your cue to click off, go make some soap, maybe take a walk around the block and come back another time, or put it on mute and just watch the video. For everyone else, buckle up, Buttercup. So, in true crime inspiration, we are doing the scent Love Spell with charcoal, purple mica, and a couple spritz of gold and purple on top. Okay, let's get started. Let's start from the beginning. Because how do you even get to a place where you're just casually dismembering your boyfriend at his mom's house? Like, girl, what was the thought process there? I have no idea. So, okay, let's start about who we're dealing about. We have a story that starts with Taylor Schabusiness. She's like a 20 something from Green Bay, Wisconsin. She's got the whole girl next door vibe, but behind a whole bunch of eyeliner and chaos. Taylor has a long history of drug use, mood swings, and a rap sheet that could rival a CVS receipt. Have you ever got one of those things? They're like 5 feet freaking long. Now, around 2021, she started dating Shad Thyron. Now, Shad is about 24. His friend said he was sweet, quiet, goofy kind of guy who would help you move a couch and not complain or ask for anything. He was just all around sweet kid. He lived with his mom, and honestly, he just wanted to live and get clean. But Taylor, she was not on the same journey as Shad. So the two of them kind of had this on again, off again relationship built on meth, obsession, and boredom, which, spoiler alert, is not the recipe for a successful, healthy relationship. They're like the people in town that everyone talks about, the ones that are either fighting or making up in public. Yeah, that was them. And despite all red flags, and I'm talking about all the Six Flags of red flags, Shad just kept letting her back in. Because, love, drugs, and denial make for a powerful cocktail. Fast forward to February 2022. It's freezing in Wisconsin. Everybody's huddled up, trying to survive this winter. And these two are holed up in Shad's mom's basement, smoking ice and having fun, which for Taylor meant taking things way too far. So let's go to when all hell broke loose. We're February 2022. February 2022. Taylor and Shad are holed up in Chad's mom's basement, which, by the way, is not where romance thrives. They're basically doing drugs, music, and in Taylor's mind, having the time of their lives. And at some point, things shift from fun to fatal. Taylor later told police that she and Shad started having what she described as rough sex. She grabbed a metal chain, looped it around his neck, and started choking him. And here's the part where you just gotta pause and be like, girl, what? Like, what? because according to Taylor, it started as a part of a kink, but then she just didn't stop. Even after he coughed up blood and even after his body went limp, she just kept going. Later, when police asked her why she didn't stop, she said, and I quote, "I liked it." Ma'am, that is not what we say to detectives. There's that moment in your life where you can feel there's a split before the mistake and after the mistake. Yeah, this was her after moment, but Taylor didn't realize it yet. When Shad stopped breathing, Taylor told detectives she just sat there for a bit and cuddled his corpse. And then she thought, you know, logical. Why stop here? That's when things turned from horrifying to full blown nightmare fuel. She grabbed a knife from his mother's kitchen. Actually, she grabbed a couple knives up and down the stairs. She kept going, using the bathroom and in the kitchen. According to her, she favored the bread knife. Then, according to courtroom records, she dismembered him, starting with his head. She placed his head in an ordinary bucket right there in the basement. Then she used separate containers for his torso and limbs, some storage bins, some plastic bags, she just left out willy-nilly. Apparently, during this time, his own mother walked down the steps and Taylor said hi, and she said hi back and went right back upstairs. To get a full view of how everything is, there's a back door and then you little hallway. There's a doorway opening with steps straight down, and then there's an opening to the basement. Either one of them had doors. So literally the whole where Shad stayed, it was like wide open to the world during this whole entire freaking process, like wide open. And Taylor told investigators later that she was going to take all the body parts with her. But then she, quote, got lazy. Girl, that's the word you use when you skip laundry day, not when you leave a crime scene of scattered pieces around your boyfriend's mom's house. Like, no, ma'am. And it gets worse. Taylor admitted that after he died, she still continued to perform sexual acts on his body, not to mention that she used adult toys on Shad, which later she says in a call from the jail that she was cutting off his head as she was taking him for a ride. Dollar adults put two and two together what that means. Disturbing. And at this point, detectives are probably questioning every career choice that led them up to this moment in this room and this interview. But important to remember, this wasn't heat of a moment crime. This woman stayed downstairs for freaking hours, cutting, moving, cleaning, not cleaning, packaging things up. She even put some of his remains in her van that she had outside. And she's walking around up and down all this. They have no idea. And I don't what was your plan here, girl? So to say she must have been covered in blood head to toe, like literal head to toe, because the body has a lot of blood. So now it's the next morning, February 23rd, 2022. Picture this. Shad's mom wakes up, maybe gets a coffee, going about her morning routine. And she hasn't heard from Shad, which is weird because he's downstairs in the basement. So kind of hard not to see or hear from him. So she decides she's going to head down to the basement to see what's going on. She walks down the stairs and it's quiet, like too quiet. She looks around and maybe she was thinking these kids didn't clean up. There's clothes all around, random things. But then she looks down and sees a bucket, just an ordinary bucket. There's a towel draped over it. And because moms are brave in ways the rest of us will never understand or will be, she reaches over, lifts the towel, and there is Shad's head. And also, according to court documents, his genitalia was in there too. I'm not kidding. In that moment, her freaking whole world had to stop. She runs upstairs and calls 911 and somehow manages to explain what she just found. And I can't even imagine the strength it took for her to keep her calm during all this. Meanwhile, police arrive, and as they're entering the basement, it's like walking into a scene straight out of a freaking horror flick. Except this is definitely real life. There's blood on the floor, tools, storage bins, bags, and inside them, more of Shad. And they also find the same exact chain that she used to choke Shad. The basement is described by police as chaotic, grisly, and incomprehensible, which honestly feels like a freaking understatement. And while officers are still trying to process this actual nightmare, guess who's missing? Taylor. She's gone, but she's not gone for long, because a few hours later, they track her down to a house that's nearby Shad's house. She's got blood on her clothes, scratches on her arms, and she's acting like this is totally just another freaking normal day. Like, oh, hey, what's up, officers? And like, man, what is up is like literally murder. That is what's up. And when they arrest her, she reportedly says, "You're going to have fun putting this one together." Freaking disturbing. And that's the level of unbothered we're dealing with. We later when they searched her van, they found even more body parts, including internal organs, stored boxes, and bags beyond comprehension. But honestly, you know what the saddest part is? Shad was literally described as this generous, sweet, loving guy who was trying to get better, and he let back in the wrong person, and it cost him everything. And Taylor, she didn't even seem to care. She kept referring to him as he was her little buddy. So after they arrested her and they take Taylor down to Green Bay police station, and right from the start, detectives are like, okay, like, bro, this isn't a normal case. Nothing about this is normal. And she's sitting there covered in blood, looking exhausted, but not panicked. She's not crying. She's not even pretending to cry or even to fake it. She's chill, like way too chill for somebody who just completely dismembered her boyfriend. Okay, one detective asked Taylor, "Do you know why you're here?" She goes, "Because you found my play toy." Play toy, that's what she says. Excuse me, ma'am. That is not witty. That is a freaking confession, first and foremost. She goes on to tell them super casually that she didn't mean to kill Shad. It just kind of happened. And then she says, "I liked it again." At one point, she even tells detectives that they're going to have fun again trying to put this one together. Girl, this is not arts and crafts. She didn't get the memo. Detectives are sitting there trying to stay professional, but you can feel the energy and the chaos in the freaking room. They ask her, "Taylor, what was your thinking? Like, what was your thought process?" And she literally looks him dead in the face and says that she thought she would get away with it. Okay, yeah, sure. You left his head in a bucket at the bottom of the steps for his mom to find in her basement. Legit foolproof plan. But underneath all the sarcasm, this is where things really show how far gone Taylor is. She starts talking about using crystal for days of no sleep, about hearing voices, and how she had this out of body experience. And right after saying all that, she laughs. Not like an evil laugh, like I don't care, oopsie daisy, hee hee laugh. And it's super unsettling. Like the cops are like, what the hell do we got? The police report said she showed a complete lack of emotion, detachment from reality. Basically, her mind was gone, whether it was from the drugs, mental illness, or both. We'll never know. We'll never know for sure what it was. The interview goes on for hours, and every time detectives try to understand, like, what is your motive here, girl, she gives them something new. "I blacked out. I was high. He liked it. Rough. Not that rough, ma'am. And I didn't want to stop." And at one point, she literally tells the police that she was planning on taking all the body parts with her, but she got lazy. And I'm sorry, girl, when you say you got lazy, that's something you say on laundry day, not when you abandon a dismemberment halfway through. After the interview, detectives have no doubt this wasn't a case of self defense. It wasn't an accident. It was brutal, deliberate, and twisted. So they charged her with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. The kind of list that makes your stomach drop. The trial was just insane. Chaos, all the things. So it's 2023. The case is finally going to trial. Taylor's sitting there in an orange jumpsuit, sackles, messy bun, the whole signature, "I don't give and I'm not sorry" face. The defense goes for the classic, she's not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. Basically, the insanity plea we all hear about. They argue that she was psychotic, high, and delusional. That she wasn't in control of her actions. But the prosecution, on the other hand, is like, absolutely not. This was premeditated. She knew exactly what she was doing. And honestly, the evidence freaking backed that up. Taylor just didn't kill Shad. She planned parts of it. Like, she moved things around, she packed the body up, put parts in containers, cut them up. She even tried cleaning the scene before she got super distracted and ended up going somewhere else in La La Land. That's like not delusion, that's decision making skills. The courtroom was packed with reporters, local true crime junkies, everybody waiting to see what this woman would do next because she is a sideways show from start to finish. And let me tell you, she did not disappoint. So during her competency hearing, which is where you go to court, decide if you are mentally fit to stand trial, Taylor's lawyer, bless his freaking soul, is standing there to her next to her, trying to freaking help the chick out, right? And the judge starts talking, and everyone's calm. It's just a normal day in the freaking courtroom, and out of nowhere, Taylor Schabusiness just launches herself at her attorney, full blown body lunge, hair flying, yelling, deputies scrambling. The whole thing was caught on camera. Girl, this is not the time for WWE audition. Not the time. Deputies literally have to tackle her down. She's screaming. Her lawyer's trying to protect his face, and the courtroom goes completely bonkers. There's complete chaos. The video from this court hearing went viral because, of course, it did. After all that below outburst, her lawyer's like, yeah, bro, Your Honor, I'm going to have to go ahead and withdraw myself. And honestly, I can't blame him. From that moment on, every hearing had to have extra security. And when the trial actually began, Taylor sat there expressionless. Like, she's doodling, she's staring off into space, she keeps smirking. The jury listened to the autopsy report, which confirms what everybody already thought, that she killed Shad before postmortem dismembering him. And it was cold, methodical, inhuman, and the defense tried again, pushing mental illness shenanigans. But the prosecutors reminded the jury that Taylor herself admitted she liked it and that she planned to take the body parts with her. That's not a hallucination. That's a confession. So after all the back and forth and her testimony and the horror, the chaos, the jury goes out to deliberate. And it doesn't take long. They come back. The verdict is guilty on all counts. And for a brief, beautiful moment there, justice feels like it was starting to take shape. So fast forward a little bit, the trial's done, the verdict is in, and Taylor's officially found guilty on all counts. And you think she'd be quiet, humbled, maybe ready to get her sentence, or at least sad that she just got charged with all this crazy stuff. No. You know what she literally says in the courtroom? That the courtroom needs chaos. That's the answer. Oh, yeah. April 2025, years after her conviction, Taylor's back in court for a totally separate charge. Apparently, while in prison, she allegedly attacked one of the correctional officers and the nurses. Now, she has this huge rap sheet. And so she's back in the courtroom. Again, chained up, orange jumpsuit, hair down, that same I'm the main character expression on her face. Like, the judge is trying to get through like a basic hearing. And guess what happens? She lunges at her new lawyer again. Like, girl, that didn't work out too well the first time. Why are we trying it again? But deputies swarm, there's yelling, papers are flying. Of course, the cameras caught it again. And it's like, how is this real life? And this is when where she gets brought back later for a hearing, she's literally shackled to this wheelchair and she starts blowing the camera kisses. Like, ma'am, this is not America's Next Top Villain. This isn't an audition. Sit down. Well, she is. She's locked in a wheelchair. This is where judge literally said that she forfeited her right to be present during her hearings because she was too violent to attend them. And imagine being so freaking extra that literally the justice system's like, you know what, bro, we're good. You don't have to come. Stay home. That's how freaking whoop whoop she is. So finally, her sentencing comes up in September 2023. The judge looked her dead into the freaking eye and said, Taylor Schabusiness, you are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And just like that, it was over. She will spend the rest of her life behind bars at the correctional institution in Wisconsin's only maximum security prison for women. And yet, even there, she still can't stay out of freaking trouble. She's facing way more charges for all kinds of prison attacks. And as of right now, she's representing herself because I can't stress this enough. Nobody wants to deal with her anymore at all. It's disgusting. It's also kind of surreal that someone could do something like this horrific, and still act like she's in some twisted virtual reality or reality TV show. But that's Taylor Schabusiness for you. Unpredictable, violent, and completely detached from reality. So, anyway, after everything, the drugs, the headlines, the courtroom chaos, the one thing that's easy to forget is there was a real person in the center of all this. Theron wasn't just a victim. He was a son. He was a friend, someone who loved music and was goofy, kind-hearted way about him. People who knew him said he'd help freaking anybody. And even if his life wasn't perfect and complete chaos, he would always help somebody out. And he was just trying to get clean. He was trying to get better, trying to move forward, trying to believe that there was still some good in people. And it's heartbreaking that the person he tried to help was the one that freaking destroyed him. The crime scene photos and the interviews and trials were all freaking horrific. And what really stuck with me was how calm Taylor was throughout this. Not because her calmness equals evil, but it showed how freaking far gone she was. There's a certain kind of darkness that comes when someone loses touch with empathy. And there's a line between love and control. And when it completely disappears and erases completely, that's the thing about this case. It wasn't just about murder, it was about power, obsession, and addiction. The way drugs twists a person's brain until they're not even in there anymore. I know I joke like, girl, what? Like, oh no, ma'am. But deep down, the story is super tragic. The one that should have never happened. Because if anyone would have stepped in, or if Taylor had gotten help earlier, maybe this entire nightmare could have been completely avoided. But instead, we have a case that will forever haunt Green Bay forever. And a reminder that Crystal is not and will never be a personality trait. So, class, what did we learn today? Don't mix crystal with romance. It never works out. I got lazy is not an acceptable excuse for freaking anything ever. And if your last name is Shabiz, don't make murder your business. But seriously, love people that love you back, set boundaries. And if anyone ever gives you the I might be on an episode of Dateline someday vibes, trust your gut, freaking run. Episode. Alrighty, love bugs. That is today's episode of Sinners and Soap. My soap hopefully is hardened so I can cut it and put it in this video. And also now my faith in humanity. But that's a whole nother story. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and for the love of lavender, don't kill anybody. Bye.